Hello again, whiskey friends. Thanks for joining me today, everybody. And then today we have a pour that I can review because I live in Ohio. Hey, I get to brag about living in Ohio. Hey, you got to pick your punches some places. All right. We got the Weller Special Reserve Green Label, $25 essentially off the shelf. I pick this up when I go to the grocery store and get family groceries. So go to a Kroger, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Sometimes they just have this thing. So let's break this thing down. This is one of the ones that people go crazy about. I think that's kind of interesting. But let's go through the process, break this one down together. Thanks for joining me, everybody. Let's kick off the show. All right. So as I was saying off the top here, this review is sponsored essentially by Ohio because I can get Weller in Ohio. Now, what happens essentially is that the red label I can't get anymore. I mean, that thing flies off the shelf. People wait in lines for it. People don't buy the green label. That one's the one that's available in the afternoon after all the lines dissipate. And I pick these up. People love these. Guests love these. My mother-in-law loves this. Got lots of people that are drinking this. And just because of my area, once again, this is something that actually cut my teeth on 5 years ago when I was getting into all this. I would drink this essentially as my daily bourbon. And when this was tasting good, like I just knew that like calibrations were right and everything things are going to taste really good. That was like my control pour that we do now on the blinds. It was essentially Weller Special Reserve. So this is a wheated bourbon coming from Buffalo Trace, and it is 90 proof. So this is the green label one. This is the bottom of the Weller line. So we're going to go through the process. We're going to break down the nose, break down the palate, and get into the final scores. Thanks for joining, everybody. Let's get into this nose. Ooh, nose is actually kicking today. I kind of like it. So there's a little bit of oak on this pour. It does come across as wet wood. So, if you're somebody that keeps like wood outside for your fire pit and it rains and it gets a little wet, kind of has that kind of smell to it. There's lots of caramel, and there is the Buffalo Trace cherry for days on this one. I also get a little bit of a salted pretzel, which I find interesting. And salted pretzel, it would almost be like the harder Dutch ones, more specifically. Like if you buy one of those big barrels of pretzels from Sam's or from Costco, pop open that lid. Like that's the kind of pretzel I'm talking about. It's even got like a white color to it. That's about everything off the nose. Let's get into the palate. Cheers, whiskey friends. So these flavor notes are going to be pretty simplistic, but all pretty delicious. Up front, doesn't give a whole lot. It's mostly a vanilla, cinnamon, slight oak combination, but still kind of muted up front. The mouthfeel actually bats a little bit above its proof. So for only being 90 proof, it actually does have some thickness to it. I do like that. And then actually, if you can even see the glass here, I mean, look how oily it is. So it doesn't have like that watered down sensation. It does have a good mouthfeel to it, nice and creamy. Mid palate, mostly the same. Really soft. Got this nice vanilla. Got the cherry again and caramel. I really think that's why this one is so approachable. I mean, just think about what I just said. Vanilla, cherry, caramel. Is it caramel or caramel? Is that like a regional thing? I can never tell anymore. I just say whatever comes out of my mouth. But yeah, vanilla, cherry, caramel. Now I'm going to be self-conscious about it. The flavors of it are just pure and simple, but nice and pleasant. So no depth whatsoever, but what it does, it just tastes good. Then on the finish, mostly cherry again. The cherry really dominates the finish. Getting into the vanilla, caramel again, slight oak. So pretty much a summation of all the tasting notes in between. I feel like that's what kind of sticks out about this one. Come on, $25. MSRP is $25. I'm not trying to evaluate it as any more expensive, even though I know it's more expensive out there on the shelves. I've seen it for 100. I've seen it for 150. $25. The baseline flavors are just good. You know, some of the other whiskeys that I've been reviewing lately have all been around this price range, at least at MSRP. And I think this one's a good variety to have in there. You know, I think the flavors of it are actually even more accessible than some of the other bourbons that still bat at a high level at this price range. You know, I think the Heaven Hills and the Jim Beams, that nuttiness of those profiles is actually a turnoff for some people. This one doesn't have any turnoffs. It's just vanilla, cherry, and caramel. So I think that's what kind of distinguishes it versus some of the other bourbons in that price range in that area. But I'm enjoying this quite a bit. So let's get into the scores here. So here in the channel, we break everything down into 3 categories when it comes to the scores. There's a whole bunch of metrics behind the scenes here. We got flavor score. That's worth 40%. Experience. That's worth 50%. Value. That's worth 10. Value at $25 at MSRP. I gave it the full points. I'm only evaluating this at MSRP. The experience score, I gave it a 65. You know, it's not complex at all, but as I said, it's actually got some good viscosity to it, and even the finish is very good. Like, I'm fine with it. Flavors, you know, I gave it a 62.5. Man, I feel like I probably could have given it some more flavor points there. I'm really enjoying it on this particular tasting. I think the thing that could be a turnoff, which I think was when I did review it and put these scores down, was that like wet wood sensation. I did get that a little bit on the finish here. I think that's one thing that maybe holds it back a little bit. But ultimately, you ended up at a 67. That's a good pour. And the recommend here, I gave it an 8 out of 10. I mean, I think everyone should try this. I know this one gets some love, this one gets some hate. Man, just go and try this and take it for what it is. It's a good sipper. So do I plan to buy another? Yep. When I go to the grocery store and I pick up my carrots and I pick up my taco ingredients, I'm hoping in Ohio that they got another Weller Green Label. Sorry to gloat, but I live in Ohio, and I got to gloat about the things that are good about living in Ohio. Well, thank you for joining me today, everybody, for the review of the Weller Special Reserve. Yeah, just perfectly good for the price point where it's at. Accessible. Probably one of the most accessible bourbons that I can think of, honestly, just with the baseline flavors. So if you can find it, go enjoy it. Do not pay more than $25 for it, though. I mean, $30 max. Don't go with the FOMO on this one. Ooh. But thank you for joining me today, everybody. I'll catch you next time. Bye, everybody.
Jeff, just be friends with me. But you have these whiskey friends, and you say hello again. Oh, Jeffrey, you should just be friends with me. But you have these whiskey friends, and you say hello again. Oh, Jeffrey, you should just be friends with me. But you have these whiskey friends, and you say hello.